Hello, welcome to Dit Dot. My name is Amanda, and everyone say hi to Watson. He is my sous chef. Tonight for dinner, I am making sloppy joes. Sloppy joes are probably something that every family in America has their own version of this dish. And it's interesting because every family will have very similar, but people will have their own special ingredient to this dish. And it's been around for a long time. And so today I was looking at it and I was trying to figure out what is the history of sloppy joes. So I went and did some searching on the internet, and apparently they were originally called Tavern Sandwiches in about 1920s. And they came from Montana. So right now, as you see, I'm just chopping up an onion into very small bite-sized pieces as we are going along. So these tavern sandwiches were also known as something called a loose meat sandwich. And loose meat sandwiches were basically just like ground beef, salt and pepper, not much else, served on a bun. Well, those sandwiches made their way in the 1930s over to Iowa, and a guy named Joe added he's the first one to know that added tomato product to these sandwiches. And that's when they became known as sloppy joes. Now there's another story too that might also be how we Americans got sloppy joes. And that story starts in Cuba. And they had a sandwich called ropa a sandwich called ropa vieja. Oh, I don't speak Spanish. It means like old clothes. And it was talking about, it was a super, super cheap meal. The sandwich that started in Cuba was very similar to our sloppy joes with some Cuban seasonings also. And apparently it came over to America via Ernest Hemingway, where he asked the chef, who also happened to be named Joe, to make a ropa vieja, the Spanish Cuban sandwich, for him, and they ended up calling those sloppy joes too. All right, so I have an onion, and then I have one little piece of garlic. When I want to dice garlic really small, I take it and I slice little slivers this way, so it's kind of like fanned out like that. And then take your knife and very carefully slice this way, and then you can just chop and you'll have tiny little dices. And then you throw away the end because it's the root end where it's a little tough anyway. Anyway, I love studying the history, the origin stories of things, and I also love like word etymology, like where words come from and everything. So I was really just curious about where these sloppy joes came from. It's not something I actually cook very often. As a kid, it is definitely a dish that most children in America love, but I never was a big, huge fan. So I'm actually hiding vegetables in mine. So I have some really kind of sad mushrooms, which go perfectly in a dish like this because we're just gonna chop the smithereens out of them. So I just had a couple from my old last package, and then I have some fresh, pretty ones too. When I store my mushrooms, I always store them with a towel or like a paper towel or kitchen towel. It helps keep them a lot longer because the towel will absorb moisture that they give off, and then just give them a quick clean. So I'm gonna chop up a couple of these. I'm not doing anything fancy here. I'm just kind of giving them a really big, rough chop. And this will just add some, extra vegetables and nutrients to our, basically what essentially is like an American cheap comfort food. It was a way to feed a large crowd for not a huge price. Was another one of the reason these sandwiches came about. It's harder to give a history lesson while chopping vegetables than I originally thought. There is that. All right, so I've got a box grater. You can also, use your food processor, but I just didn't want to get my food processor out for 1 carrot. I mean, I could have processed all of this, but so I didn't peel it. I just gave it a good wash. And I'm gonna grate this up so that way it kind of just dissolves into the meat. The carrot will also provide a little bit of natural sweetness because most sloppy Joe recipes call for brown sugar or molasses. And this way I can kind of put a little bit less of that in my recipe. All right, let's go meat over at the stove. All right, I'm preheating my oven to 425 because along with this dish, I'm gonna make some sweet potato fries as a side dish. Just frozen ones, so no recipe or anything showing. It's just when my oven beeps in a few minutes, you'll know what it's for. So I'm putting down some avocado oil. I don't want too much. The hamburger meat will produce enough fat for us, but I just want something to get the vegetables going. So I'm going to start with our onion and garlic and our carrots, and we'll add in the mushrooms in just a minute. Let's get these vegetables a chance to cook down a bit. So I apologize to my Spanish-speaking friends who obviously I'm just like, oh, I completely butchered that. I had written it down on my note card because I had a couple of notes, and then I was like, okay, because I want to make sure I get my facts right. And then I was like, oh no, don't even try, Amanda. Don't even try to say it. And so I crossed it out, and then I did try to say it, and then I just butchered it. But always real, not always perfect. So let's go ahead and put these in. I'm gonna let these cook for a minute and we'll be right back. My onions are starting to stick a little bit, so I'm going to add just a little pat of butter to give them just a little extra flavor and so that they won't stick on me. I'm not really looking to brown the onions. I just want to kind of soften them up because the reason why I did not like sloppy joes as a kid was a texture reason, because they would serve these at school and they didn't soften the onions. So you would bite down with a soft hamburger bun and the soft meat and have that crunch of the onion, which now I love crunchy food. But back then I didn't like crunchy onions when I was a kid. And so it kind of put me off of sloppy joes in general. So if you take the time to kind of soften your onions, it makes a big difference. Friends, my video was not recording, but we didn't lose much. So all I did, I swear, I put in 1 pound of beef, opened up the package, put it in, and then I seasoned with some onion powder and garlic powder, salt and pepper. And then my camera went black and I'm like, what? Oh, apparently I'd forgotten to push record. So I do apologize. I literally just put this beef in. So here, let me show you what it's looking like. So this is our vegetables with very pink raw meat because I just put it in. And I'm just trying to break it up. I like to use a flat edge spoon, and we want to break this up into really small pieces. So I had it on low at the end while I was sauteing my onions. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back up to like medium, and then eventually I'll get it to medium high. I do like to use a low fat beef. I was saying that some people will substitute turkey if they don't eat beef for whatever reason, or they're trying to reduce the amount of red meat in their diet. But I do like to use a low fat beef so that way I don't have to drain this at the end. But if you do use a higher beef content, you might want to cook it separate so you can drain it, or use a colander that your vegetables won't sieve through also. And I mean, these pieces are pretty big. I don't think it would. So we're just gonna give this a chance to cook. We'll start adding in our seasonings. So I gotta tell you, tomorrow is our first day of school for us. We're homeschoolers, so we get to pick our own schedule. The local students here start a little bit later. So yesterday, as kind of a last end of summer, we were gonna go see the tide pools. It's a very big activity in the Pacific Northwest. It's like going to the aquarium, but in real nature. Here's some pictures from our last trip. But while we were headed there, we didn't even get out of the city before we were in standstill traffic forever. Like, car wasn't even moving. So we were sitting there and we're like, okay, the tide is going to come back in by the time we get to the beach, because like we were sitting in traffic for so long. So we're like, do we just go to the beach anyway and not see the tide pools, or do we go to our plan B? Well, there is a bookstore in Portland called Powell's, and it is the largest used and new bookstore in the world, and we love going there. So we decided to make a day of it. We went to Powell's, we went to Sizzle Pie, which is a pizza place that we like, and then we went to Blick Art Supplies because my girls love art. So we ended up having a fun family day, and hopefully we'll be able to go to the tide pools again soon because it's so fun. So my meat isn't all the way done, but I'm gonna go ahead and start adding seasonings now. So for those of you who have kids, do y'all like to do a big last weekend celebration before you start back into school? Let me know. All right, I've got 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. And like I said, this is a slightly sweet dish, and ketchup has sugars in it usually, and we're gonna go for about half a cup-ish. When you make this recipe, do you like to measure, or is this one where you kind of just guess your measurements? I'm just curious. And I want you to comment down below what's your secret ingredient or what's your must-have ingredient. I don't always do it with extra vegetables. Okay. So then we're going to add, this is Worcestershire sauce. Apparently I can't speak Spanish, but I can say Worcestershire. I'm one of the few that can, I think. Okay. And Grey Poupon, anyone? So whatever your favorite mustard is. Just like a heaping spoonful. And a little bit, this is my brown sugar bear. Keeps your brown sugar nice and soft. So I'm gonna use, it's terracotta, and it absorbs the moisture, I think is how it works. Anyway, so just a little tablespoon, and we might add more. I like to, since I don't measure anything, I'm a taster. So after my meat cooks all the way through, I'll taste and adjust seasonings accordingly. Now, this is a dish that you can try to make really quickly and get on the table when you're in a hurry. But if you can make it earlier in the day and let it simmer on low, the flavors just kind of build and get better and better and better. And that's kind of what I'm doing today. Oh, my oven finally beeped at me. Here's my frozen sweet potatoes. Put those in. And so I'm just gonna let this mixture simmer for a bit before I give it a taste, and then we'll adjust seasonings as needed. I'm pretty sure I'll need more salt. This has been simmering for about 15 minutes. You can see the sauce is quite thickened up. So let's give it a taste and see what we'll need to adjust. I thought for sure I would have to adjust something. I didn't think I put that much salt in there, but guys, I'm actually really shocked that I think I got this on the first try. It's got that subtle sweetness, the tangy from the tomato sauce. Love it. Onions are not crunchy. So don't eat y'all sauces. Let's go build us a burger. So I'm actually gonna keep mine fairly simple today. I just got a nice good hamburger bun, and I'm going to pile on some of our sloppy joe mix. And it's funny because I said as a kid I didn't like crunchy onion, but now as an adult I do like me some onion. So I'm gonna put some red onion on this. Pickles would be good too, but I'm gonna serve this with a slice of pickles, so I'm not gonna put it on my sandwich. And then sometimes people will serve it with cheese, not often, but I have this pepper jack cheese, which is delicious. So I'm going to put a slice. Oh, it's sticking together. Come on. A slice of this pepper jack cheese on. Doesn't want to cooperate. The provolone of this brand comes with little sheets between each slice, but this one didn't. Okay. And I'm gonna put a little bit more on top of the cheese just to kind of help melt my cheese down. The heat of this. All right. And they are sloppy for a reason, so it's okay if it spills over. Let's give this a taste. There's no glamorous way to eat that, but I really like the addition of the pepper jack cheese, having that jalapeno. Oh, I was going to suggest that while I was cooking. If you like spice, add some hot sauce to your sloppy joe mix, and that's a way to kick it up. Anyway, this is really good. I can't wait to eat it with my sweet potato fries that should be coming out of the oven in just a minute. Actually, pause. I just realized that they were ready to come out now. So I'm gonna put some of those on the plate with a big old slice of pickle. Anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. Please take a moment to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button for engagement. It helps my video get out to more people. That's why YouTubers ask you to hit that like button. We appreciate that you like it. Like we really do want you to like our content, but it also tells YouTube that people are liking our content, and then they'll show the video to more people. And I want to grow my community of people who love to discuss and talk about food. And the thing that I want to discuss with y'all is, what is your variation of sloppy joes? Until the next video, goodbye.